Peace, y'all. It's the Lord here, Cold World. I'm over here kicking it with the guy, Jay Wiggs. What's good, sir?
It's good, Brodie.
Can't call it, sir. Just welcoming everybody back to another episode of Brodie Sports Talk. We're in season 3. It's the Blacktop edition. Before we get started, we always want to thank everybody out there for their support. If you're not following us, I don't know why. We got over 1 million people that are watching us, you know what I'm saying? So click on that bottom right-hand corner and like and subscribe on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And tell a friend to tell a friend. We got to get to 500 subscribers, Wiggs.
Hey, that's the mission, dog. When we're getting there, 100 on each platform at least. Organic, dog. I'm saying.
Yeah. We're not buying subscribers and buying the certified check on Twitter and stuff, man. We're doing our thing here, man. But we're gonna go ahead and kick things off here, Brodies. Now, this is the Skins show. I don't care what no one says. We follow other sports, but this is a Skins show.
DC.
Okay, it's a DC show, baby. We're following the Skins as we go into the off season for 2026, and I don't know about you, Wiggs, but if you saw all the crime going down in the streets, it's because we have a new superhero. Up in the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane, it's Super Blough, baby. David Blough, baby. We got ourselves a new offensive coordinator, Wiggs. David Blough has ascended as the quarterback coach, and he is now going to be the new general of the offense for Washington going into 2026. No pun intended there with the Commanders. But what do you think, Wiggs? I mean, what can we expect from the Commanders in 2026 with David Blough now, leading the offense?
Hey, since we're a DC show, Cole, we gotta mention Trey Young, man. That's what I thought you was gonna say at first.
Oh, we got a new welcome superstar. Ice Trey to game.
Hey, welcome Ice Trey, Cole. You called it again. Listen to the Brodies, man. The Brodies know what they're talking about. You called it like 2 or 3 weeks ago. You were like, yo, Trey Young is coming. Like, he's coming. Pause.
Hey, yo. You were like, hey. We just getting started, man.
You got to get him out the way early.
Get him out the way early, Wiggs.
But yeah, you were saying that you think they're going to make the trade for Trey Young. And I didn't think we were going to get him for the amount that we had to give up. We didn't give up any draft picks. That's great because there's going to be a great draft coming up. We only gave up CJ McCollum and Corey Kispert. Shout out to those guys. They rep DC well, but we're tanking for one of these top picks, man. Trey Young is going to sit out, so that's cool. That's cool with me.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
It gives you a top.
Yeah, it should give us a top 10 pick, which is what we need, which is what we have in Washington as well. So with David Blough going in as the offensive coordinator, Wiggs, I mean, like, what can you expect from him, man?
So with David Blough, I'm expecting big things because it's going to let JD5 shine. And, David Blough is a quarterback coach. That's what he was, a quarterback coach. Now he's going to be the offensive coordinator. I think Dan Quinn is going to have his hands on the offense even more as well. Dan Quinn's job is on the line. So you hire somebody from within. That's somebody that probably respects Dan Quinn on a level that somebody coming from the outside would not. If you're coming from the outside like Cliff Kingsbury was, when you come here, you're like, yo, I was already a head coach. I know how to run a system. Let me run my system. David Blough is going to come in and say, okay, Dan Quinn, let's work together.
Great point.
You want to run the ball? We'll run the ball. We'll make sure JD5 is a threat to run the ball. We'll keep him protected as well. That's going to be very important.
That's a great point, Wiggs.
Hiring from within and the quarterback coach, man, that's a close relationship. You think he's not going to try to protect this quarterback?
That's a great point.
So yeah, there's a lot I'm looking forward to with that David Blough.
Yeah, I think to your point, like, he is going to be in the offensive coordinator position for the first time in his career, so he's going to really need that head coaching experience from Dan Quinn, and he's learned enough from Cliff Kingsbury, like, to your point, already being a head coach. And I think that probably was one of the reasons why they decided to go their separate ways, because you got two alpha dogs trying to work with each other. Everybody can't do it. Eventually somebody has to submit, and I wouldn't be shocked if Kingsbury was like, look, you run the defense, I run the offense, and what I'm saying,
not,
on some remember the Titans type stuff. Yeah. But Blough, the good thing is, like you said, he has a relationship with Five already. So that's going to be pertinent going into year 3, because as he creates his offense, JD5 is definitely going to be like, hey, look, these are some plays that I like to run. These are some plays that I feel comfortable running, so on and so forth. And I mean, we talked about this, before we went on, Wiggs. I mean, this is something that Quinn is rolling the dice on, but it's like the organization itself is like, you know what? We've had so many coaches come and go here. We can't botch another opportunity like this and let Blough go, because, he's been sought after for the past 2 years. So, I mean, just to give the Brodies an idea, Wiggs, you got the list of how many offensive coordinators we had. Let's just go back, from 2012, the Shanahan regime. How many coaches we've lost?
Kyle Shanahan is my favorite coach right now in the league. He did a great job. We'll talk about them a little bit later. Yeah. But we went from Kyle Shanahan as the offensive coordinator from 2010 to 2013. Sean McVay, so he might be the second best coach in the league right now with the Rams.
Might be the best. You never know. If the Rams win, which we'll talk about later, you could make an argument.
So Kyle Shanahan was this close to having a chip. Him and Dan Quinn were a part of the 28-3 comeback that the Patriots had over the Falcons. Sean McVay is a champion. That's somebody that was in our system. He's gone on to win the championship and has the Rams in the playoffs. Matt Cavanaugh, he's actually well respected in the league. I think he is doing some things. Kevin O'Connell, he might be top 5 offensive minds in the league. He worked well with Kirk Cousins and various other quarterbacks. Sam Darnold, you saw what Sam Darnold did with these guys last year. He's, again, top 5 respected in the league. Scott Turner, I think he was with maybe the Titans or somebody else, but
Chargers, I believe.
Okay, he comes from a tree. Yeah, he comes from a coaching tree. Yep. Eric Bieniemy, champion with the Chiefs. I mean, we've had great hire after great hire after great hire, and then
Mike McDaniels too. Don't forget that.
Yeah, we did have Mike. He wasn't an offensive coordinator, but he was on the staff.
Yeah,
and then we ended with Cliff Kingsbury. So yeah, that's talent after talent. So if David. Is it Blough, right? Am I saying
David
it right?
Blough, yeah.
Yeah. If David can come in and do what these guys did, man, that's a great hire. Like A+.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest important things that they have to understand is like it's going to be on the job learning. You know what I'm saying? Because he's got until what? He's got a few more months to like start game planning. Everything, and it's all going to fall on AP on if we can get some good draft picks for this guy, get Five some weapons, free agency, so on and so forth. So, I mean, I like it. I would hate to, if I was in Dan Quinn's shoes, I would hate to kind of roll the dice on a offensive coordinator who's getting his first, go round at things, because it's like, if they flop, right, you could be gone. So you're rolling the dice here, bro.
I mean, but again, I'll give Dan Quinn credit. He's hired some really good offensive coordinators. He's always getting somebody that like has a great resume. So I think that does say a lot about this offensive coordinator. And again, Dan Quinn's going to be able to put his fingerprint on this offense. We said it all last year. We didn't have an identity. Dan Quinn can say, yo, I'm putting how you put the fingerprint in on that phone? I'll put my fingerprint in. This is what this offense is going to look like. So I'm expecting big things from them next year.
Yeah, and one thing I'm expecting the most, I'm expecting to see more under center snaps for Five, because I think that was one of the biggest things that people were emphasizing this year with Kingsbury, is that they ran the shotgun way too much. The hurry up offense. I mean,
I like the hurry up though. I like the
hurry up offense. Don't get me wrong. When you think
of Tom Brady or Peyton Manning running that,
don't get me wrong.
JD5 did it last year, and that's why we were putting up big points, going forward on 4th down. It creates a little bit of code. I do it about it. No, I like the hurry up.
I don't mind the hurry up,
but I do like the under center too.
But there has to be some type of discernment. Like, okay, let's know when to slow it down a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
We have a 28-3 lead.
Yeah, slow it down.
Dan Quinn, you got a 28-3 lead. Run that ball. Get under center.
Or like after your first series of 3 and out, how about we slow the pace down this time? We don't have to go for another quick 3 and out. So we'll see what happens there, Brodies. Let us know what you think here. Click on the bottom right-hand corner and like and subscribe on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, and tell a friend and tell a friend. But speaking of coaches, there's a particular coach out there in Pittsburgh that unfortunately, like it says in the book of Ecclesiastics, there's a season for everything. And Mike Tomlin and out is what we have heard out there in Pittsburgh, Wiggs. Mike Tomlin's out as head coach after 19 years. It's crazy to even think, but Mike Tomlin has been the coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers for basically half of my life. When you think about it,
and that's tough.
That's crazy. Same thing with Harbaugh. Yeah. But what's next for Mike Tomlin, Wiggs? Now that Pittsburgh is moving on, what's the legacy that he's leaving out there in Pittsburgh for people to try to emulate or duplicate rather for the next regime?
Yeah, Mike Tomlin's going to be a tough person to replace. But I can say I was in Pittsburgh, or a town close to Pittsburgh, in 2015, and they wanted Mike Tomlin gone in 2015, over 10 years ago. So people have been wanting Mike Tomlin out the same way people in Baltimore recently wanted Harbaugh gone. People didn't want these guys gone forever. But again, like you said, half my life. And we haven't won a playoff game in 7 years. Not only have we haven't won, we've lost by 21 points at some point during the
average,
game.
Yeah.
On average. Again, I would never leave Mike Tomlin's legacy on that note, though. He's a championship. He has a championship. He's put together some of the best defenses, some of the best schemes. He coaches and carries himself with confidence and charisma. People say he's going to do great on TV if that's what he wants to do.
Maybe I would love to see him off.
Yeah, because he didn't get fired like a lot of these other coaches go. He stepped down. He made his own choice.
They preserved his dignity as head coach. They're not going to disrespect him by firing him, because all the other the other two coaches within the last 60 years, they had an opportunity to resign. So they run things differently out there.
Exactly. That's a Rooney rule right there. So Mike Tomlin, like I said, steps down after 19 years. Like you said, half of our lives. But he can do whatever he wants. I would love to see him go to Baltimore. I would love to see him coach the Ravens. Give him a quarterback. I would love to
see him come to Washington too.
Yeah, him and JD5. And again, let me just say this too, Co, because I feel like I love what the media person Lynn said for the Jacksonville Jaguars coach. She just showed him love. And as much trash as we talk on the show, as much as we like to critique, man, I give all the credit and a lot of not just respect, I highly respect Mike Tomlin.
Yeah, me too.
I'm sure you could say a lot of good things about him as well. You said a lot of good things about John Harbaugh last week. But as a black coach representing black culture, Mike Tomlin he's done his thing. And as a black man, again, people talk about black men versus white men in the media a certain type of way. We're not going to be afraid to say it. Co, you sent us a message today and said, what's a friend if they're just a yes man? So we're not going to play nice in the media. Again, if we cannot play nice and critique the players, we can critique the media as well. And the media has to do a better job of the way that they talk about these coaches that are black, the quarterbacks that are black, because when it comes to Justin Herbert, a white quarterback, you barely hear them have a story about him, but you can see hours long talks about the Eagles quarterback
Jalen Hurts,
he's black, about Jalen Hurts. Every hour on the hour, I'm hearing about that. Every hour on the hour, I'm hearing about Mike Tomlin now. But when it was John Harbaugh, it was mostly respect, and we think he's going to do great things. But before the news was talked about with the Steelers losing this game, it was a lot of, oh, Mike Tomlin this, Mike Tomlin that. There was not as much respect. So not to get too sidetracked, but I did just want to show Mike Tomlin some love because, like I said, I would never just end it on he lost 7 games in a row, even though that's how it ended. So we do have to keep that in mind. Again, I'll go back to the beginning of my point.
That's completely understandable. I have a few family members that are part of Steelers Nation, and the Steelers and the Patriots, they've won so much that they've developed a standard. So anything less than that is mediocrity. And as a fan of a losing organization, I can't fathom why they think like that. But that's kind of like the poverty mentality with the rich people. It's like, if you think broke, you're going to be broke. So they think winning, so they are winning. Here it's different. But like with Tomlin, let's just define the winning here, okay? Like the man was there for 19 seasons and never had a losing season. People make jokes about it, but it's like, bruh, he never had a losing season in 19 years. That's incredible in the NFL, considering with free agency and all this stuff. And, he gave you a championship. And yes, he's lost 7 playoff games in a row, which ties the record with Marvin Lewis, head coach of Cincinnati back in the 2000s. So that's not a good thing. But the man has 193 wins as a Steelers coach. He ties Chuck Noll. He's one of 3 coaches in the last 60 years for this franchise. He's won more with less. Like, after Big Ben, Wiggs, how many quarterbacks did they start after Big Ben?
Oh man, let me go to
or since the Big Ben era ended.
Let me go to the list. And let me say this too about Mike Tomlin. He won the Super Bowl in 2008. So he was coach for 19 years, but his Super Bowl was, 2008. 2 years from now, that'll be 20 years. So 18 years ago. True. 18 years out of 19. You can see why, like you said, maybe he didn't just resign. Maybe they showed him the respect of letting him resign. But going back to the list of quarterbacks, Big Ben played his last meaningful games, I would say, in 2020. 2021 was his last year officially. Or I'm sorry, he did play 16 games in 2021. So we'll go 5 years ago. Okay. Since then, they've started Mason Rudolph, Kenny Pickett, Trash. Mitchell Trubisky. Trash. And then they came back the next year in 2023, Kenny Pickett, Mason Rudolph, Mitchell Trubisky. Like, he followed it up with that. And then 2024, Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. And this is where I think they made a mistake. When they went with Justin Fields, they had a part in their contract that said if he plays under this amount of games, they don't have to get like a 2nd or 3rd round pick. And they kept him at 6. I think they should have let him play over Russell Wilson. Because I think with the Mike Tomlin defense that they had that year, Fields would have been able to control the ball. It's the Hurts effect. Yeah. If it's working, it's working. We can go to the championship if our defense is good enough. And the defense hasn't been good enough this last year when they got Aaron Rodgers. Mason Rudolph started 1 game, but Aaron Rodgers was the main quarterback. And the defense wasn't good enough for Aaron Rodgers to do the little bit, and get by.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true. So this is kind of transitioning into the point I was going to make here, as far as Tomlin being able to do more with less. The quarterbacks you just named are ass water. You know what I'm saying? They're trash. Shout out to Bubba. You know what I'm saying? They're trash. But it's like he still found a way to get a winning season and get in the playoffs 7 out of those 10 years. So it's like, imagine what Tomlin can really do if he had an elite quarterback. Can you imagine if this man went to Baltimore?
Tomlin and Lamar, that's gonna be good.
Yeah. Now he may take a year off because I don't think he's gonna want to go to Vegas and rebuild, or Arizona or Tennessee. I think the 2 prime spots really are Baltimore and Atlanta. As far as like the top spots. And it might go to Harbaugh and Tomlin, depending on if he wants to still coach. I don't know. That may shake some things up, Wiggs.
Okay. If he's not going to Baltimore, like if I'm not just being a homer, I think Atlanta again, because Atlanta just needs culture. And again, black coach with black city. some things just make sense. I didn't even think about him coming to DC, but you're absolutely right, Cole. Come to DC, take a year off. It would be perfect for him to take a year off, because that puts the pressure on Dan Quinn.
Yep.
You see all these coaches.
We'll go get Tomlin.
We'll go get Tomlin, though, and Tomlin would love to play with JD5. You telling me he wouldn't? And I'm also telling you, Cole, Bill Belichick, man. Like, not to switch the topic, but I think great coaches want to coach right now.
Yeah,
you've seen these coaches coach into their 80s. We got
getting up there, man.
Our political people are in their 80s, man. We're not going to say any names.
That's true,
but they're in their 80s, so people are still willing to coach. Tomlin, even after 19 years, Harbaugh after 18. I think both of these guys would love to coach in any of these cities, but for Tomlin specifically, yeah, I like Atlanta. I like Baltimore. I mean, I think anybody would want Tomlin. I think he's the number one coach. Would you say that, Cole? Is he the number one?
I would say
coach
so.
To you?
Yeah, I would say so. It's 1A and 1B right now with him and Harbaugh.
Okay.
I mean, like Harbaugh is the black. I mean, Harbaugh is the white version of Tomlin, and Tomlin's the black version of Harbaugh. Like they're both like 1A, 1B. You can't go wrong with either one. I think
this is what. Go ahead.
But,
no, I was going to say this. No, go ahead.
Hey, yo, wait, Jinx. But I would say the biggest thing is just going to fall down to like which organization is going to like be the most set up to win right now. Because I don't think Tomlin's going to want to come in and rebuild. I think Harbaugh might be a little bit more patient, but I don't think Tomlin would have that type of leash. Because like this is another thing, bro. They spent 18, 19 years at their respective organizations. I don't think they're going to go on another run like that with their new organizations. You know what I'm saying? Like I think they might get.
That's a good point.
I think they might get like, a longer leash. Like if they sign a 5-year contract, they'll get the full 5 years no matter what. But like them staying 10, 15 years with the next organization, I mean, I don't really see that happening, man, unless they win early, because it's like you had that opportunity with that other organization for 2 decades and you only produced one.
Uh-huh.
So we'll see what happens.
You want to see that these organizations can represent you well, because when you're coming from Baltimore, great organization, top to bottom, that's why you keep a coach like Harbaugh as long as you do. The Steelers with the Rooneys, great organization. That's why you keep a Tomlin as long as you do when he's winning. You said it last week, Ko. You would keep Dan Quinn and Adam Peters because you got to give them 3 years because we're not a toxic organization anymore.
Exactly.
The old organization did things like that. Thought with the poverty mindset like that. Like, yeah, let's get rid of somebody after 2 years. We don't even know if the players are good yet.
Yep.
Give them a chance to develop. Have put people in places that are going to coach people up. And, again, going back to the Commanders, we didn't really coach them up. So we need coaches that are going to coach them up, whether somebody's injured or not. Look at the 49ers. The 49ers beat the Eagles. We'll talk about it a little bit later, but you got coaches that can coach up next man up. Dan Quinn, I feel like, is a next man up type of coach. Mike Tomlin is a next man up type of coach. You see it. He always talks about his players. Like, it doesn't matter who's out there. Next man up. The Steelers, even when you watched them last night, it was a good game into the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
The Steelers did play with good effort when you talk about Mike Tomlin again, but they just didn't have enough.
They just got out executed because he's always working with, I don't want to say mediocrity, but he's not working with elite talent. And this was kind of the gift and the curse for him never having a losing season, Wiggs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When you don't have a losing season, you don't get a top 10 draft pick. So
you can't get a quarterback.
You can't get a quarterback. You can't get really a bunch of star players that you really want in the first round. You're always picking 20th through 15th or something like that. And you just end up having to get bridge quarterback after bridge quarterback after bridge quarterback and hope that you can, get to 9-8 or 10-7, get in the playoffs, get your foot in the door, and hopefully the defense will take you there. But, the quarterback play always ends up fizzling out in some shape, form, or fashion after a 9-10 win season. But we'll see how he does. In his next regime. I mean, I think the next team that he goes to is probably going to be primed to win the Super Bowl.
Let's do it. Hey, that sounds like Baltimore to me.
I know, right? But let us know what you think there, Brodies. Click on the bottom right-hand corner and like and subscribe, and tell a friend to tell a friend on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Now, for those who don't follow the market, right now we're in a little bit of a shaky situation. They threw a pebble in the plastic river here, Wiggs, and prices are going up and down right now. We bought some stock last week that returned dividends, and we bought some that didn't. So we got another installment of buy and sell here, Brodies, and we are going to talk about the playoff contenders in the second round here. Now, we got the San Francisco 49ers at the Seattle Seahawks, a division rivalry game here. Wiggs, I love Kyle Shanahan, but I don't know, man. Eventually, these injuries are going to catch up for them. Like, they've been able to overcome injuries all year, but it's like, how many times are going to be able to continue to win without their star players? So I don't think they're going to have enough firepower against the Seahawks. I think Sam Darnold had a nice conversation with it. Well, I think the offensive coordinator had a nice conversation with Sam Darnold and said, look, don't F this up. We got you. Like, don't F this up. So having said that, Wiggs, I'm going with the Seahawks. What do you think?
I think I'm going to have to rock with you because we saw them play like 3 weeks ago, and the Seahawks are the only team I've seen have an answer for Christian McCaffrey. Every other team, the Eagles, the ball's going to Christian McCaffrey. Somehow he ends up wide open. Somehow he ends up getting a touchdown. Somehow he ends up with 100 yards rushing and receiving.
Mm-hmm.
A big part of that is you have Trent Williams. Trent Williams is an X factor. Let me check the paper, because I might want to switch my pick, man. I mean, Trent Williams is an X factor. Christian McCaffrey is an X factor. So even when you lose a player like George Kittle, the game plan can continue. And again, last year we saw Kyle Shanahan be able to have next man up. They have Brian Robinson. When we had Brian Robinson, that would have been a great number 2 running back to have here in DC, but Adam Peters let him go. Listen, I'm going to talk about Adam Peters' record at all times, Co. Adam Peters let Brian Robinson go. Of course, he's a different type of running back, but when you have a Trent Williams on the outside, that opens up lanes for players to do things that, exactly, it's a big factor. So the running game is important.
Last week against the Eagles.
Exactly. The running game is important. Time of possession is important. When you have those players, and Brock Purdy is a great game manager, game changer. I think Brock Purdy is a game changer. And I think they have Jawan Jennings. They ran some trick plays. You have Kyle Shanahan. I like the 49ers. So okay. I'm switching my pick. Man.
Switching up? Okay.
Give me the 49ers this week.
Okay. All right. And we got the Rams at the nail shop. Now, I like Caleb, man. People are talking about his completion percentage being a little bit low, but it's like the dude's a gunslinger, man, in his second year. Like, relax. But I think the Rams defense is going to be a little bit too much. Like the Packers defense was good, but they didn't have all their star players, and he didn't really they barely won. You know what I'm saying? They had to come back and win. I don't think he can do this against the Rams defense. And, the Rams offense is just as good, if not better. They got the coldest white man in the business in Matt Stafford. So give me the Rams.
All right. Hey, bear down, man. Bear down. I don't care I don't care about the fingernails anymore, cuz. I watched the first game and I thought Caleb was gonna lose. They were down 21-6 or 21-3 at half, and the betting line was plus 800. I said I should do it just because, and I didn't. But
that's the second time, man.
I'm telling you, man.
I'm not going to remind the Brodies of that situation. But
we don't even have to talk about that one. Hey, but the Rams let Bryce Young come into town and almost beat them. So I'm not sure if this defense is what we think it is. Again, I really like the Rams up front on defense. I really like the Rams offensive line up front. They had Kyron Williams looking really good. They had Puka Nacua doing what he's gonna do. So I really like the Rams offense, but I think the Rams defense is slipping. And if you almost lose to the Panthers, I think the Bears in Chicago change again. We go from the West Coast to the East Coast in the cold, or the Midwest in the cold.
Good point.
That might be a factor. It was a factor last year with the snow for the 49ers. And I think this is where your point comes in, Co. When you have injuries and the Rams have some older players like Devontae Adams, when you have your defense has been playing deep into the playoffs, you've gone to the Super Bowl and won a Super Bowl, you've been deep into the playoffs like you were last year. And now you go to the cold, you might not play the same way you want to in the second half. And we know the Bears are the cardiac kings right now. 7 games they've come from behind. Pause. The
That's
Bears.
A good point.
Give me the Bears, man.
Okay.
I'm buying the Bears.
Buying the Bears? Okay. All right. So that's the NFC. Wiggs is going to be taking the Niners. He's buying the Niners and buying the Bears. I'm buying the Seahawks and I'm buying the Rams. So AFC side.
We're covering all our bases, man.
Let's see. Houston at New England. Now, Houston put belt to ass last night.
It was a good game. That defense is special.
You made a great point with that one, Wiggs. Like defense travels and like the way they're moving in unison right now is pure poetry. So I would definitely say the Houston Texans are favorite, but they're going to be in the cold weather again. All right. I mean, it didn't affect them last time, but they weren't going up against this type of offense. I think Drake May's offense is better. You know, it's definitely better than the Houston Texans offense, if you ask me. So,
yeah, you're right.
You know, and the Patriots defense is just as good. They got the championship pedigree over there with Vrabel and Daniels. Give me the New England Patriots, baby.
You make a good point, Co. I mean, damn, I'm looking at all my picks like, am I sure I want to go with who I picked? Because
you want to go with CJ Stroud?
Man, that's a great point. I mean, when you look at these quarterbacks, he's going to make a
bonehead play again, man. Like, I can't trust him right now.
Yeah, when you looked at that game yesterday, the Texans did not win because of CJ Stroud. They won because of that defense, and they won because of that running game.
Yep.
And that's why I'm picking the Houston Texans, Co. Because we said defense travels, running game travels. Woody Marks and Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb, we talked about him in the offseason being one of those running backs that was there in free agency. He's just a tone setter. Same with Woody Marks. If you watched that game last night, they didn't win because of CJ Stroud. They won because of that defense and that running game. And Woody Marks had a great running game. I think that's one of the things that they might be able to take advantage of in New England. I think when you look at a game where it's going to be colder, so you know your receivers might drop a ball. Nico Collins had a concussion. He might be out this week. Christian Kirk had a good game. So listen, I said it last year in the playoffs. CJ Stroud has to do more. And he didn't do it last year in the first round. Last year in the first round, he had a decent game in the second half. But his next game, he ran the ball more. I think he's going to do the same thing this year. I think this game, he's going to run the ball more because you have to. It's either win or go home. So I think CJ Stroud understands that. It's his third year. I think we're going to see him run the ball more. I think that's going to make the Texans, again, just a little bit more dangerous, be able to control the ball. And if that defense could do what they did to Aaron Rodgers, I actually think they can hold Drake May to under 225 yards.
Okay.
If you're betting, put that on the slip, boys. I think they'll hold Drake May to under 225 yards, and I think they're going to get a turnover. Okay. I don't know if it's going to be a pick six, but I think if any defense in this round is going to get a pick six, it's the Texans or the Broncos. It's going to be Houston. So give me Houston over the Patriots, and then let's go to the last game. Broncos versus the Bills. Another one of the top defenses versus the top quarterback, Josh Allen. Who you got, Co? Who you buying? Who you sell?
I'm taking the option on this one. Give me the Bills, okay? Your boy Josh Allen cannot lose. This is his last chance to win a Super Bowl. He can't F this up. So He's going up against the best defense. And how ironic that in order for Josh Allen to win the Super Bowl, he's going to have to face all the toughest defenses in the league, arguably. Because, I mean, he's already taken care of Jacksonville. He's going to have to play Denver.
They were hitting out there, man.
Yeah, and if he makes the championship game, he's got to go against either Houston or Patriots. And if he makes the Super Bowl, he might have to go against the Seahawks. So, unfortunately, this is the uphill battle, but he can't lose because there's no excuse.
There's no excuse. And he looked great in the last game. He was like 28 for 35, damn near 300 yards, one passing touchdown, 2 rushing touchdowns. They were doing the tush push. They were doing everything it takes. And you know that, again, that's why I said I think CJ Stroud is going to know that because he's been in the playoffs 3 years and won 3 years. I think Josh Allen, we know his playoff resume. And I think he knows he has to get it done. Like you said, he's going to do anything possible. Anything is possible. It's one of those types of years, right? No Mahomes, no Lamar. Show who you are. And he's got Haley Steinfeld by his side. Hey, my man is living a good life. So, yeah, man. Damn, Cole, I like that pick again. But I'm going to have to go with you. I'm going with the Bills this time. I actually did have that one written down. Yeah. I don't think Bo Nix, in comparison to Josh Allen, is going to be good enough. And I don't think Sean Payton runs the type of games that win playoff games versus these types of quarterbacks. If he had a Drew Brees, yes, but Bo Nix is not Drew Brees. Bo Nix can run the ball, and that defense is good. But these teams have played each other before, and Josh Allen has succeeded against this team. So I think he's going to do that and do it well. And then we got more matchups, Cole. We'll see what happens after this weekend. But you were 5-1. Let's talk about that a little bit, Cole. You were 5-1 last week, dog. How did that feel? That's the best record I think you had in all like 3 seasons. Right?
Yeah, like ever. Yeah, that was definitely
and in the playoffs.
That was definitely a career high in picks. I mean, it was kind of poetic justice. I mean, if you think about it, I mean, I knew the Rams were going to beat the Panthers because it was like, this is revenge. Yeah, it was close. And I think it was close because they went into this game again, assuming they were just going to blow them out. You know, like, don't think because they're an 8-9 team that they suck. I mean, they're still a professional football team. Yeah. But I mean, I knew they were going to get the win. And then with Chicago, man, honestly, I was taking Caleb Williams, like, just making another clutch play. I mean, he's been doing it all season. And I don't think, I mean, the Green Bay Packers, they're a good team, but it's like they lost Michael Parsons, and Jordan Love just hasn't really been himself, you know, lately. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. Some of these picks were just luck. I mean, I knew Philly was going to lose because it's hard to defend the title than it is to win it. So
didn't do a ring ceremony, by the way.
Yeah, you know.
So you missed out on that, my boys.
You know,
dumb shit.
I'll save that for the transition. But you know, Pittsburgh, I thought Aaron Rodgers had enough magic. I thought 10-year drought was going to end in playoff wins for Mike Tomlin. So I just kind of, you know, went on a win with that
the storyline. Yeah,
you know. And like I said, Josh Allen can't lose, so I expected him to beat Jacksonville. And Trevor Lawrence turned back into the B word. No, I ain't gonna do that. You know, because that was a tip.
That's
pass.
What he's been in the playoffs, though. That's what he's been in the playoffs.
You know, it is what it is. You know, so,
he's 0-3.
Yeah, and then of course Drake May. You know, and we know what the Sherbert does when it matters. So you know, that's kind of what I was going off of. And
let's just say this, Cole. I did pick the Texans, so we technically did go 6-0. You know, between us.
True.
You know, because I said the Texans would get a pick 6. I think that gives us like extra credit. You know, knowing that defense was going to get a pick 6. So
we called it.
You going 5-1? Give me the other one, and I had a couple of the other ones too. But that I think this weekend was like
you took the Rams. Did you took Chicago too? Didn't you?
Let me see who I took on the first round.
You went with Jacksonville. You went with the Patriots. Like,
yeah,
I mean,
I went with
I think
the
you
Rams.
had like
I went with
wrong.
the Bears. I went with the Eagles. and that was close. I went with Houston. I went with the Jags, and we both went with the Pats. So,
so only two.
I think my storyline was the Jaguars. I think that was my storyline pick. Was maybe Duval could do something. And then the Eagles, I was thinking that Jalen Hurts would get it done in the end. And I think that's where I went. That's where I went wrong, Cole.
Yeah.
But this is where you picked up for the Brodies. You've been saying it all season. Jalen Hurts has one of the most simple route trees, passing concepts in the league. The Eagles fans have been saying it the most. Kevin Patullo has one of the easiest offensive systems that they run in the league. And when you look at the last play that they ran, AJ Brown and Devontae Smith just did a go. They didn't even do a comeback route at the first down line. I run Madden offensive systems. If it's fourth down, give yourself options. AJ Brown and Devontae Smith did goes and didn't even look for the ball. They were going to the tight end the whole time, and that's a terrible system. I think that's why when you see AJ Brown drop the ball, sometimes it's like, yo, this system is so crazy. Oh, I actually got the ball this time. Just imagine, like I said, they weren't looking for the ball. So if Jalen Hurts was to pass that ball to AJ Brown, I could see him being like, oh, the ball wasn't going to me, because we know Kevin Patullo has one option in this offense. And let's see next year what they can do. Because I told you, I don't like Nick Sirianni with AJ Brown, but I like Nick Sirianni with Saquon Barkley. I like him with Jalen Hurts. I like him with a good offensive coordinator like they had last year, who they lost. So they've changed coordinators every year. The Eagles lose that game versus Kyle Shanahan, who again, top 3 offensive minds. And then the rest of these games, man, I can't wait till next week.
It's definitely gonna be some good games next week. I mean, and with the Eagles, man, Hurts, like I said, is limited from his passing tree. So when you have a vanilla offense, that's already basic and limited. There's really not much you can do. And speaking of AJ Brown, I mean, his antics, in a loss, just kind of magnifies an era of wide receivers that seem to be dying out, but there's still some that are still alive. And right now in Philly, man, there's just no brotherly love right now between AJ Brown, and the Philadelphia Eagles. And I don't get it, Wicks. I mean, this guy is on a winning. He's with a winning organization. They're not a cesspool from a management standpoint. They pay you your money. They don't have you, waiting the entire offseason. They actually try their best to cater to your needs. And like I said, you're winning. But for some odd reason, it's like you find some way to bitch and moan. Okay, you're not getting the ball enough. Well, did you win, brother? You got the ball, but you dropped it. And that was fourth down. In the middle of a playoff game, it's make or break of the season. You're literally cussing your coach out after we're force feeding you the ball, and then you're complaining about it still. And then they give you the ball, and you got the nerve to drop it when it matters. I don't get it, man. Is AJ Brown done in Philly? First, number one, Wiggs, and then second, is this diva attitude here, man? Does it wear your welcome out? With locker rooms.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. AJ Brown if he's not done, it's because of the contract stipulations. It's because they don't get what they want to get in return. It's because their GM, Howie, is a really good GM, and he knows that sometimes talent you don't just let walk out the door. So True. AJ Brown is still, listen, every team in the league will be calling AJ Brown the same way they're calling these coaches that are really good. Every team in the league will be calling AJ Brown saying, please come to my team. Please come to my team, and we'll treat you better than they treat you. We'll put you in a system that will get you the ball. We'll feature you. We'll use you like the number one receiver that you are. Come to DC.
Come to Washington.
Hey, I'm telling you, and the Eagles GM wouldn't trade us him because they know they're not they're not Joe Schoen in New York getting Saquon Barkley being able to go to the Eagles. So so that's why the Eagles might not get of AJ Brown, but they should if they value the locker room. Because when you have a player that's disgruntled like that, it messes up your locker room. You saw the Cowboys let go of Travion Diggs because it's like, yo, you're not following the rules, dog. And if these are the orders, if these are the rules,
Diggs too with Minnesota and Buffalo.
Great point, Co. There's actually a number of receivers we could talk about. Antonio Brown. Let me go back to my other page. AJ Brown, Antonio Brown, Ocho Cinco, Michael Irvin, Jamar Chase, T.O., George Pickens. And then you compare those players to a Jerry Rice, a Larry Fitzgerald, or a Terry McLaurin, and you see the difference that it makes in the locker room. You see the difference that it makes when a Jerry Rice leaves the 49ers. They may not be the same 49ers that they were when you had that type of player. You see the impact that it makes when a Larry Fitzgerald leaves Arizona. They're not the same Arizona that they've been since Larry Fitzgerald. You see what happens to the Commanders when Terry McLaurin's not there. So the diva receiver in the locker room, it's toxic. And a lot of the receivers that I named, their careers ended short. Ocho Cinco was still able to play, but he kind of got ran out of town. T.O. was still able to play. He kind of got ran out of town. Antonio Brown still had a career in front of him. He missed out on a Super Bowl with Tom Brady because he couldn't get himself together in the locker room. George Pickens might not get the money that he's supposed to be getting. And a lot of it, even when you look at this game code, let me say one more thing and then you can jump in here. Yeah. A lot of it comes down to like you said, Code, what type of offense are we running and are you buying in? AJ Brown stopped buying in because he wasn't getting the ball. He started caring about stats. He started caring about numbers when they were winning. They were like 7-1 to start the season. And he's over here crying, talking to the media. And then again, at the end of this game, he didn't have anything to say to the media. So that's a diva receiver. That's somebody who's not good. That's somebody who's not good for the locker room. And that matters, especially if you're a coach like Nick Sirianni, who, bro, you're basically on thin ice. You had to fire one of your coaches. So, yeah, you fired Kevin Petula. Get rid of A.J. Brown while you're at it and try again next year. Yeah,
I think his antics have gone sour in the locker room. Like they're tired of it. You know what I'm saying? It's like you're dating a girl that always wants to argue over something. And it's just like, you know what? I love you. The loving's good, but I'm tired of arguing. You know, I'm just tired. You know, when you get to the point where you don't even argue back, that's how you know you're tired. Sirianni is just like, you know what? He left the text message on red. You know, it's like, I don't want to deal with this anymore, man. And he's so talented, to your point, Wiggs. He's going to get picked up, whether they trade him or whether they release him. He's going to get picked up because talent is always going to trump, foolishness. Now,
facts.
Here's the issue that I have with him the most, outside of him just, dropping passes when it matters. It's his complaining when you're winning. Like,
yeah,
here's one thing I'll say to kind of play advocate here. Chad Johnson said when wide receivers or any player, but he's just speaking for wide receivers in general, come contract time, your pay is based on your stats. And he's complaining about not getting the ball because he knows come contract time, they may say, oh, well, you weren't as productive this year, so why should we pay you this amount of money? And I'm like, that's a good point. I completely understand that. But we all know that you're on a pass limited offense. So, but you're winning. You've got a chip, you know what I'm saying? And you're still putting up 1,000 yards a season in some shape, form, or fact. It's not hard to get 1,000 yards. With 17 games, that's 60 yards a game. That's nothing. But it's like, my nigga, excuse me. You want the ball. You would rather want the ball than the win. And that's disturbing to me, to the point where you're bitching and complaining and you're winning.
It's disturbing.
That's disturbing.
You can't do that when you're winning. Yeah.
You're winning. I can see if they were losing and he wasn't getting the ball. Like, bro, you won a Super Bowl, and honestly, they could have won 2 more games had he not bitched and complained.
I think you actually just made me think of a great point, Cole. I think that's the reason that he was bitching and complaining, was because he did that last year during the playoff run, and they actually won. So in that Super Bowl, the game before, AJ Brown did not have a big game, and that's because it was cold. It was a snowy game versus was it the no, not the Rams? I'm sorry. It was either last year or the year before, or I think the game before that versus the Rams, because they had a good game. He had a good game versus us last year, but he didn't do good, and he complained, and they ended up giving him the ball. They ended up giving him the ball in the Super Bowl. Yeah, he had a good game in the Super Bowl last year, and they won. So I think this year he came into the year like, yo, I'm going to do the same thing. We're going to win, and I'm just going to be a diva receiver. I'm not good. But when you don't make the plays when it counts in the fourth quarter, that's what matters. And that's what people are saying about LeBron. I'm not going to switch the topic. But LeBron, when you don't make the plays in the fourth quarter, you gave that ball up to Giannis. You had the turnover. You missed the layup. AJ Brown, when you get the ball in the fourth quarter on 3rd and 10, the ball is put where it's supposed to be. Everybody's talking about Jalen Hurts is not good.
Mm-hmm. He made the play.
He put the ball where it
right
had
on
to
the
be.
money.
AJ Brown had his hands on it. If you're a receiver, if you're that receiver, you get your hands on it. You got to catch it. That's what makes the great.
And that's where you make the big bucks. You know what I'm saying?
You make the big bucks. This is what you asked for.
Yeah,
this is why they brought me here. What?
People aren't going to remember your 1,000-yard season this year. They're going to remember that one drop pass when it mattered. So I think whoever they decide to trade him to, I just hope the other organization isn't as dumb to, number one, they're going to have to give up maybe, if not a number one pick, they're going to have to give up a second.
You can't give up a number one for it.
Yeah, they're going to have to give up at least a second, maybe a third for him.
That's where value comes in, Cole, because you should be getting a first round pick for AJ Brown. If you trade AJ Brown, you should be getting a first round pick. But when you know it's going to come with these problems, you're lowering your value. You're lowering the amount of money you can probably get in free agency. All those things are lowered, even if it's 5%, 10%. Because like you said, the talent is there. So people are going to, in the NFL, if you have talent, the NFL is going to pay you. They're going to give you an opportunity. But these are the things that start lowering your shelf life. These are the things that start, you don't have as many options. Cole, let me ask you two things. One, who's your favorite diva receiver? And who's your favorite receiver that's, the locker room guy?
When you kind of think about it, Randy Moss was a little bit of a diva, but he cleaned his act up when he went to New England.
He did clean his act up, yeah.
But I would say Ocho Cinco because he was a diva, but he wasn't a cancer in the locker room. He was a good teammate. It's just that he was just too boisterous with his stuff, and but actually it wasn't his boisterousness that got him out the league. It was a woman, but it is what it is. But as far as my favorite locker room guy, I'd probably say Chris Carter.
And he was I think he started his career in his rookie year or something like that.
Yeah, he was a little edgy when he was with the Eagles. He had a real bad drug problem, and he was out of the league for a year. And then Dennis Green, the former coach of the Vikings, they brought him in, and he turned his career around. He ended up becoming a model citizen, man, on and off the field. Him, obviously, Jerry Rice.
Moss.
Yeah, same thing with Randy Moss. But, up until this year, I feel some type of way, but Terry McLaurin, he's a great locker room guy. But, the diva wide receiver is always going to be around because at the end of the day, this is still entertainment, and it's the talent is always going to trump. So, but to your point, depending on how much of a headache they are, man, the shelf life is not going to be that long. So we'll see what happens here. Let us know what you think there, Brodies. Click on the bottom right-hand corner and like and subscribe on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. But that's our show for today. As usual, Wiggs, we're always getting out of here on time, man. Just when I think that we don't have enough time, you know what I'm saying? We go the full distance here. But until then, it's the Lord here, Co-World is the God here, Jay Wiggs, it's Brodie Sport Talk. We'll see y'all next week, y'all. Peace.